Bill Lang now from Small Business Australia. Bill, how are you doing this morning?
Yeah, good morning, Aaron.
We were all watching with bated breath as the Premier took to the podium. We kind of had our hopes raised on Sunday that he'd be making some big announcements. We might even be able to head to a shop, but it looks like they're still being ultra cautious here as well. What's been the reaction from small business following the Premier speaking?
Oh, look, there's still hundreds of thousands of small business owners, and with their many more employees, incredibly disappointed. They don't really understand why the ongoing lockdown, in terms of how intense it is, the inconsistencies. Now we've got the mask mayhem. A little bit of bait. The curfew's been lifted, so now you can go and meet with some other family members, maybe in a park at midnight, as long as they're only from one other household. But you can't sit on the footpath at a cafe.
Yeah.
Socially distance and enjoy a cup of coffee. There's just still so many inconsistencies, which again just impacts overall confidence. And then we've heard things from this inquiry that's been held, and we just don't have much confidence in terms of what has gone
Isn't it?
on.
It feels like business are being held accountable here, and yet the politicians are struggling too, and certainly those bureaucrats in that very expensive episode of Yes Minister that we've just put on with this hotel inquiry. Talk to us about how national supply chains are being impacted by Melbourne being locked down, because we know that Melbourne is the manufacturing hub of the country, and also we have the largest port in the country as well. We're starting to hear of real delays in supply chains around the nation because of Victoria's lockdown.
Yeah, look, it's amazing. A lot of stuff comes into the port of Melbourne. A lot of stuff then gets actually assembled and or manufactured here. At least the abattoirs and things are being opened back up. But in terms of, non-food related product getting across the borders, a lot of the manufacturers actually aren't allowed to operate. So their employees cannot go to work, where there are very safe environments. No record of cases getting transmitted. The most recent thing we've heard from the government in Victoria is that really it's when you've got people in your home environment, you let your guard down, you might be, kissing and hugging and everything else. Why aren't the factories open? It's just crazy.
Let's talk about the impact on property as well. I know some of the organisations you work with are really talking about how this is impacting the property sector, in the third and the fourth quarter of 2020.
Yeah, look, and we're going to see, the implications of, businesses that have already closed, so therefore the landlords don't have a tenant. So there's implications for that flowing through then to, well, how much debt underpins the property and what will actually happen with respect to those properties. I mean, you go into the city of Melbourne, it's a ghost town in there.
Yeah.
People have been scared way beyond what they needed to be actually alerted to. When are we going to be able to go back into offices? Let's use some smart technology in these offices. There's some great tech around these days that will actually track and instantly trace if you've been near anybody. Again, you look at somewhere like New South Wales, like the businesses there are being provided, with a COVID-safe solution that enables instant tracking and tracing. We've still got pencils and paper being used in regional Victoria at the moment, let alone the fact everything's still closed. 5 million people locked down here in Melbourne.
So let's talk about the City of Melbourne. I know that we've got this huge election coming up, of course, the council elections as well. Sally Capp looks like she will continue on there. What are your thoughts on this, and just in terms of how business owners are doing in the City of Melbourne? Because we're talking about how cities are changing forever. The fact is productivity from home has increased while people have been working from home. So there's not a huge rush to get people back into the city, but obviously that has an impact on the many businesses that rely on professionals heading into work every day.
Yeah, look, absolutely. So, look, we have a set of questions going to each of the various groups or tickets that are running in the City of Melbourne elections, so that we can provide our members and broader small business community with our assessment of, which of the particular teams is going to have the most small business friendly policies, but not just policies, how much resource is going to be committed and how we're going to measure the success, rather than sometimes the over-promising that we always hear around any type of an election. But look, there are key issues for a lot of these business owners with respect to if their customers were literally office workers as opposed to office residents. How many workers will come back? On what basis will they come back? And what will that mean for resizing the business, or in fact closing the business? The quicker they can make those decisions around closing in an orderly way, rather than staying open, hoping that things will get better, that there'll be a vaccine, and that all of a sudden, the couple of million plus people that come to the City of Melbourne every week back in March, that may not actually eventuate for many months, maybe for years, Aaron.
Mm-hmm. And the property will be impacted there as well. Bill Lang, always appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron.